Welcome to the Helix webinar series. Today's session is on how BMC Helix AIOps and HelixGPT enables next-gen IT operations. Our two presenters today are Rana, our Director of Product Management, and John Ahern, our Principal Solutions Marketing Manager. They will do a formal introduction shortly. Just a reminder that you have the Q&A section in Zoom at the bottom. In there, please put your questions during this webinar. We will be answering them at the end. A slightly different format for those that have joined many of my webinars. We won't be doing live Q&A at the end, but we will be talking through the questions you put in. So please, we encourage you to use the Q&A section of Zoom. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to John firstly for the introduction.
Thanks, Samantha. So as Samantha mentioned, my name is John Ahern. I work as a Principal Solutions Marketing Manager here in BMC, and I'm responsible for our AIOps portfolio, which I've been working on for the last couple of years with my colleague Rana. We're really excited to take everyone through the content today. We do have to do a little, legal notice right up the front, so it's just kind of a bit of a legal, requirement that we have to share with everyone. So you can take a second to read that. But Rana, do you want to say hello to everyone and introduce yourself as the screen is up?
Yeah, hey everyone. So my name is Gyanendra Rana. I'm the Director of Product Management for AIOps and Observability at BMC. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this call and talking more about the generative AI. Exciting.
Yeah, Rana, you've underplayed yourself again. You're the king of AIOps in BMC. I think that's the unofficial title. But so delighted to have you on board today. And what we're going to look through today, okay, we've got a really exciting agenda. As you see here, we're going to have a look at our Helix GPT solution. But really what we're going to show here is kind of like our operations management with AIOps and how it's augmented really by our Helix GPT capability. So really good topic that we'll be covering today. We've got a great solution demo lined up as well. So myself and Rana ran through that, in preparation for today's webinar. We've also got like a little bit of a sneak peek into the future of some additional capabilities, which are going to be coming out in subsequent releases or upcoming releases. So stay tuned for those. And that's really exciting that we'll be able to share those with you today. And as Samantha mentioned earlier, we will be doing Q&A towards the end of today's session. So I'll be manning the chat or the Q&A function today, trying to deal with whatever we can during the webinar, but we'll address all of them. So looking forward to getting going with this and, talking with you all at the end of today's webinar. So over to you, Rana.
Hey, thanks, John. So, hey, everyone. So, as you know, we're going to talk about the generative AI piece, but I want to share something which is really important around the generative AI piece. I have especially been working in this field from especially from last 6 years. There were other algorithms when we started 6 years back. And it's important to know that the generative AI piece on the operation side, our AIOps, was in fact released almost a year back before the ChatGPT came into the picture. So we are not new into this one. We have been working on this from now almost 2.5 years, right? But today we are going to talk about what generative AI is and what do you want to know and how can it help you in your operational use cases, right? So generative AI, why? It's basically, as you have seen some of the tools in the market, it looks into the content, all the contents, structured, unstructured, and summarize it into a natural language summary. It basically analyzes your document and, creates a readable summary for you so that it can help you, it can help and recommend you in the future. Now, why generative AI is important, right? Why it is important so now, right? So with a lot of new technologies coming in and with a lot of data getting produced, since everything is being digitalized, a lot of data is being produced and it's beyond human cognitive abilities to read everything and go through everything, right? So with so much of data coming in and so much of digitalization happening, now is the right time. So what generative AI does, it generates new content by looking into all your data, as I was saying, structured or unstructured. It can make the predictions, like what you have seen in the past. It can just suggest to you, hey, we have seen something in the past, in basically natural language, explaining you what you can do to rectify or correct an issue, right? it can access n number of data sources. So sky is the limit. It's not differentiate itself from a structured or unstructured data. It goes through everything. It picks up, whether it's a real-time data, whether it's an offline data. You have all those things in place. You can get those, fine-tune the models, and get the context out of it. It delivers responses. When I say deliver responses, it's important to understand that it tells you in a clear language, in a natural language, that like you're talking to a human being. Like, it just tells, hey, this is a problem, and this the problem is happening because server X is down, and this is causing a problem in all your service. That's how important the generative AI has become, and that's how crucial it is, and that's how it is very important in the field. So while everyone is talking about the generative AI, people are also concerned, like, what are they reading all my data? What are my data? Is there any data privacy things? Can they read and can they share the data with the wider audience or across the continent? So those were the things which we're going to talk about it, like what stays in your enterprise versus what is public internet sources. I'll make it clear right now, when we talk about the HelixGPT, all the data which we read stays within your operational environment. It doesn't goes out to any kind of public internet sources. So there is, and by the way, it doesn't adds any biases by looking into the data outside, because it's reading your data, and based on your data is producing the output. There's no outside biases or no embedded biases into it, right? So even before I go into the generative AI use cases and everything, it's important to understand where is BMC up to it. So BMC Helix AIOps, of course, it's an industry leader in the space, right? There are different use cases which we have been doing. It's the predictive AI, causal AI, and now what we're talking about today is the generative AI piece. So we have done a lot, especially in the last 3-4 years. We are working in the predictive AI by saturation forecasting, impact prediction. Causal AI is telling you exactly where the problem is, what is the root cause, and what is the symptoms behind it. We have a concept of knowledge graph, which basically it's like, which looks into the similar data. You can tell that they are the domain experts. They know how the relation should be, right? We have concept of the fingerprinting, which looks into similar things in the past. Similarly, using the generative AI, we have a lot been going on both in the service management as well as the operational managerial world. Today, what we are going to focus is only on the generative AI piece. By the way, on your left, when I was talking about like it takes the data sources from within your environment, these are the different data sources which you can think we take it, we fine-tune our model based on it, like the topology, events, metrics, logs, and everything which you see on your left. Right? And it's all based on the Helix platform. Not only that, like if the customers have their own open source models tagged to any of the many customers might have something on their Azure, something on the GCP, we do support that too, right? Now, going into it, I was talking about the fine-tune models and the open source models. So the fine-tune model is basically, it takes your data, it learns from your data, tunes the data based on that, tunes the model based on that, and then produce the output. Similarly, we have for the open source, if you have open source, we have running, our services there, which will tune based on your data and produce the outputs related to the operation management. I can see some of the folks are putting something on the chat. Keep adding it. Keep asking your questions. If you have any questions, I can take it on the at the end of the meeting. But do not stop yourself for putting in there. Now let's talk about the typical typical use cases. What we do from the BMC Helix GPT purposes. We read the data as I was showing you in the last slides. We analyze the contents, put them into groupings in like what is like to like. We aggregate it, like we summarize the whole thing. Then we create an output, we create an content, like what is the possible solutions. And we also do the proposals, like the recommendations, like based on your data, based on your past actions, what is the best possible thing you can do to fix an issue. This is kind of, again, important to understand, everything is related to time and cost. if you can reduce the overall time to fix an issue, imagine an incident is there and it's hopping from one team to another team, how much the MTTR is. What if we tell you up ahead that, hey, look, this is the problem, this is the root cause in a natural language, and this is how you should fix it. That's the beauty of when it comes to the BMC Helix GPT. Now, I will go into the use cases because this is what we have been talking about. In the previous webinar, we have we have talked about the service management, and you know what it does in the GPT-based situation summary. So I'll also going to demo it, what is basically a situation versus what's the problem. But we are showing you in a natural language where is basically the, if you can read it from here, it tells you where exactly the problem is, rather than what you read here is basically coming in from very gibberish coming in from these different as you can see the summary, you can see this is coming in the very gibberish way, and then how it summarizes in a natural language. Similarly, for the real-time incident correlation, just a moment. I think something is happening here. Just a moment. Some button has been pressed, but let me get control of it. So, so we have the situation summary telling you the difference between the two. We also have the incidents which clusters together and tell you, okay, you have n number of incidents, how you're going to see that trend, how you're going to group them together, and what is basically the main issue out there, right? So we are doing this from last 2 years. But the next thing which we are working on, which is early access is available, is the best action recommendation, is you summarizing the whole problem, right? And telling you now, how do you fix that problem, right? So basically an issue is out there. I can see this something, it's telling me, the system is telling me your utilization has gone high, but we're not only stopping there. Based on the data from the past, we are looking into it and what is the best possible way. And I'm going to show a very short demo in it. And these, by the way, data is not limited only to the one which you have in your operation environment. You can get the data sources like the Jira, like and from any other sources, and put it through our system, and we'll summarize it by auto-correlating them together, right? Before I jump into the solution demo, there is another thing which is going to come soon. This is a roadmap item, and it makes also us for important. I was talking about the situations and everything, which is basically an event correlation. But imagine for all those events, if we have logs available and we can provide an insight based on that from those unstructured or structured logs, along with its pattern, how powerful it is being. So that is also an roadmap item which will be coming in along with the log insights feature. Now, for the demo purpose, I will be doing 3 demos, which is the first demo which we have already available and which we have enriched in recent past, that how do we go to a faster root cause analysis for any kind of service health degradation, right? How the situation summarize using the HelixGPT. The second thing is the service insights. Service insights is imagine a person sitting and just looking at your data all the time and finding those pattern and trends. That's what AI layer does for us. It just keeps on looking into data and summarize it and shows you in a natural language what is happening right now. So it's just an AI layer continuously running on your system. And the third thing, which I was talking about in my previous slide, which is also an early preview for you guys, what is best action recommendation, right? So those 3 things I will be showing up. And let me jump to my demo. Now, this is basically our AIOps, right? And we have, we have a system where you have multiple services in the place, right? And when you go to these services, just like you will see all the services at one place. In this case, I have the GFS corporate service, and the way it looks up, and let me show you a service hierarchy so that you understand. So it will make my job easy as we move into the demo. So this is a GFS corporate service. Imagine this is your company, right? And along with that, you have multiple services run by the the corporate service itself. It can be a payroll service, it can be a shipping service, a retail outlet service, or order management. Now, these services are further supported by the infrastructure, storage, or sometimes in the mainframe also for the financial institutions. So in this case, what's happening is the corporate service has a retail outlet, and it is supported by, if you have an hybrid strategy, hybrid cloud strategy, you can have some of your infra on the AWS, some of on the Azure, right? It is supported by the core network. You might have also something on your own data center, which is the core infrastructure. It's supported by storage and others. Now, in this case, what happens is the the corporate service is basically showing up, it's red. But really, the problem is happening in one of its child services, which is the retail outlet, right? This is basically impacting the overall services. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look into why it's a problem. What is happening right there, right? So I'll open that up. And as I open that up, I go into the retail outlet service. I see the health score has degraded. So you can clearly see the health score has gone down up to 10. And there are incidents. There are actually some total events, which is already there. You can see this incidents events has been created. There is also an incident on it. There's all these 31 events are actually impacting the system. And the child services, which is impacting below it, these are the different child services, which is getting impacted. Now, if you look at the timeline here, the timeline says, okay, this was going green. A change was made at this time, which is around 3:30. And immediately after that change, there was you can say a ripple effect or domino effect. Everything starts turning into red because now multiple events starts coming into the picture. These are the timeline playback system also. You can go in individually and see what started happening. We save snapshot for each of them. Now, looking at the root cause, what we do is we have a topology, right? If this topology, you can clearly see that it gives you an end-to-end service visibility. You have the, from the network to the infra to the APM, right? You can see the application performance, which includes the software components, the software instances, everything to the infra till the network and devices. What we have done by default is we are only showing you the topology where the problem is. You can see the filters right on the top, which says only show me where the problem is there, right? So show me the causal node, show me the CIs which has been impacted. In this case, what's happening is my response time. If you can look at the health indicators, which is down here, my response time is going high, right? And this is my applications, which is being used by multiple users. I can have a business churn there. People can run away. They cannot make transactions. I can lose millions, right? Is this the real reason why my response time is going high? When I look at it, the real reason for it is found is in one of the network devices is flapping, right? The switches here, switch has the actual problem, which is causing the problem down into the system. Let me maximize it so that everyone can look at it. So you have a problem in this one of the switches, which is ultimately causing the problem in your software instances. Just trying to zoom it a bit so everyone can see it. So yeah, this is what's happening exactly. So even though the problem is happening in your application, but the real reason is the network. And that's how deep we go into it. But how did we came to this conclusion? Why we think that this is the problem? But because if you see the real topology, if I can show you the real topology, it's this big. If I just remove the grouping, you can see how complex it is, right? So we do not want to show you everything because you want to focus on the things which matters to you. So we have certain health indicators which indicates that, but everything boils down to a situation because you're getting the events from multiple sources. So what I really want to do is I want to analyze that situation. So for the folks who doesn't know the concept behind situation is basically multiple events correlated together, and it's correlated. The events can come in from our own native sources or come from any third-party sources, right? We take them together, we look into it and see, now we want to figure out what's happening, why its whole thing is happening. The very first thing which you will see, and this is on the top, is basically the interface is down, right? Interface down issue is it tells you in a natural language. First, it categorizes that there is an interface down. This is your network problem. interface down issue on network device specific to this is the root cause of the situation. This is your summary. And then it doesn't stop there. It goes on and then says the situation began with an interface down alert on this thing, leading to a series of issues, including abnormal port utilization, network performance drop, and violation health rules for retail business transactions in Texas. This culminated in a final violation of the retail business transaction health rule. The reason I was reading it, because that's not we are summarizing. That's what your BMC Helix GPT comes into the picture and explain it. So if you look into our list view, which is basically the group of the events coming in here, we are also telling you that this is the root cause. These are all the 31 events which is causing the problem. But really, if you see, I was also talking about the causal AI a little bit back. It's telling you that this one is the root cause, right? And we're not anything bluffing here. We also know the situation explainability. So when I look into the root cause view, it summarizes thing. It looks, because we have the topology, we have the service model, we know how the relationships are there. So we can tell you how it started based on the topology and the events coming at that time. So it started all from the network device, then the 4 events were created on the network interfaces, and eventually it moved down to the software component and ultimately impacting your business event. So all those things are at one place. But since we're specifically talking about the generative AI piece, it tells you exactly what the problem is and where the problem is in a natural language summary. So even your NOC person, the L1 people, can know what's going on. And then we have the ability to see, okay, does that happen is in the future? We can look into that and we can see what actions were taken at that time, and we can just run the same automation and fix it, right? That's how it saves a lot of time if you can explain the in a simple language. Now, I was talking about, that's one use case which we are doing with the situation summarizing with the GPT. But there's another piece which I was talking about in my, excuse me. So I was talking about the service insights, which continuously keeps looking into your data as a pattern. And it tells you in the natural language, the service has degraded over the last 15 days, and it degraded by this much percentage. So it continuously looks into your data, highlights where it's a problem, because this is a pattern change or trend change, right? And also summarize into your natural language piece, right? Now, 2 use cases, very important. The reason I explained you all the GFS corporate and everything, so that you can understand the context where it's coming from. It's like, where is the problem, why it's a problem, and how do we fix it? But the piece which I wanted to also cover is the last piece, which is on the recommendation. This is an early preview for the customers. This is going to be there in the product. You can ask for the early access. In this case, what we have done is we are taking the data sources. We are taking the data from the multiple sources, be it Jira or be it other. We are looking into all the actions which has been taken in the past. We're looking into the incident logs. For example, if someone has written that these are the things which I did in the past to resolve this issue, we're looking into all those data together. We are summarizing it, as I have shown it before, that there's a storage utilization issue. Further, we are also, again, this is just to explain the what we call it as BAR, basically best action recommendation. So in this case, what happens is it summarizes the issue, but it doesn't stop here. It tells you what needs to be done to fix the issue. It tells you increase the storage space. It tells you that restart the specific pod so that it can solve the issue. And if you don't have any automation available, it also suggests you a code which you can copy and put it in any of your orchestration for. You just copy to the clipboard and put it in an action framework and run it. It will solve the problem. So what we are doing is we are summarizing the problem. We are recommending you the best actions, and we're not stopping there. We're also recommending you the possible code which can be leveraged to fix the issue, right? There are also there's an important thing which is coming along with the best action recommendation bar is the Ask HelixGPT. If you guys have heard about the prompt engineering, this is you can ask the questions. It's a work in progress. It will be there. You'll see other questions coming in, so you can say what is the impact of this issue. Does it impact my business users who are all going to be impacted? It looks into all your data there, and it's going to be shown. right? With that, I mean, this is just a peek view, and similarly, the concept which was explaining before, since I was also talking about the log analytics, this is a situation. Every situation has a topology. When you see these nodes, it might have logs attached to it. It should be logs. Those logs will also be read and summarized, and further, it will add to the advantage. Like, okay, what I'm seeing in the log, so you'll see the log insights too right there. So that will also be in a natural language, right? So with that, I will hand it over to my colleague, John, who's going to take you through, oh no, sorry, who's going to talk to you about, what is required. But this slide, which I forgot, I should have talked about, is why select BMC Helix GPT is BMC Helix GPT removes any typical risk of the generative AI, which I was talking before, right? It's completely integrated within the BMC Helix for service ops platform, both the service management as well as the operation management. Since we have one platform, it's already there. There is a layer to it, and it's purpose built. When I say it's domain, domain specific for your services and operation management team, it helps them to identify incident and of course resolve the solution faster. And you can take advantage of most of current BMC Helix capabilities, which is already out there. These are all GE capabilities, which I talked about it. You can go do, you can also show on our see, try, learn. You can see at the other places. It's available in the market. And we're not new. This is something which we are doing from almost, I can say from last 2 years. So yeah, that's from me. I'll be looking at the questions, but I'll just hand it over to John.
Cheers, Rana. Yeah, thanks very much. And yeah, like Rana, you touched on a good point there a moment ago. You mentioned the guided demo. So if people do want to have a look at our AIOps solution, right, we've got an AIOps guided demo, which is a great location to start, I guess, looking at a number of different use cases which are covered by our BMC Helix operations management solution. So I'll drop the link to the guided demo into the chat in a moment for everyone to see. But well, I guess Rana, we did cover an awful lot in that particular presentation. So really thanks to that. One thing I'd just like to highlight to people here on the call today is you might have heard recently we won a leadership position from a Forrester wave. This is the process-centric wave, our AIOps wave that Forrester released. So we're the leader in that particular one. But we also have gained the leadership more recently from the GigaHome radar report as well. So I'll give you an opportunity to have a look at that as well. We've also posted this live on our bmc.com site. So you can see that the analysts are reviewing our products, they're pulling apart our products, and they're seeing that they're so powerful. They're putting us out way ahead of everyone else in the marketplace as well. But not only that, right? We've also taken our solution to trade shows, and we also won a recent award here at a TM Forum event in Copenhagen. There was about 60 or 70 people, contestants into this particular event, and we came out as the winner in the Outstanding Catalyst Showcase Award. And that was for our BMC Helix solution, obviously our AIOps capability within that. So really powerful stuff. And Rana, thanks for taking us through that demo, because the demo brought it to life. Even when you read out a section, I guess in the past, customers would have had to try and pick apart some log files to try and interpret that. But I mean, you could see HelixGPT in action there, where it was able just to turn it into not machine readable language, turn it into human readable language, and makes life much easier for our customers. Listen, we ran this demo, we ran this session a couple of times. We did get a question, or we typically get this topic that's brought up, and it's around data ingestion, Rana. So maybe you could share with the people on the call today or on the webinar today how we go about, right, ingesting our data, and then how HelixGPT makes use of that data once it's in the solution.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So we have intelligent integration, which brings in the data to the platform. So we know from the day one that observability and AIOps is a very important space, and we cannot just have one data source. So we have a tool which comes with the AIOps called intelligent integration, which can bring in the data from the different sources. And all these, like whether it's in events, metrics, topology, are stored in the same persistent store. That whether we are collecting the data from our own native tools or from these third-party sources, they're treated as a first-class citizen and stored in the same persistent store. So we have a mechanism, we have those different connectors. You can check the docs, which is available. You can take the data out, and even for the logs, you can get the logs from anywhere. So all those data is at one single persistent store.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
And these are out of the box available. It's not something you have to build it, customize. So everything is there.
Yeah, I like that. That's really, really powerful stuff. And like another topic or question that typically kind of comes up when we're talking around this, it's kind of around progressive learning and user feedback. So those user kind of feedback help fine tune HelixGPT, or is it something that that can make it more powerful, I guess?
Yeah. So when I was showing you the situation summary, there is a going to be a button there, which is, a user can come in and say, hey, I don't think this is the root cause. The root cause is something else. So the moment you change it, like you give the feedback, this is not the root cause event, or this is not the root cause, just change it. It takes the feedback, it updates the model behind the scene, and what will happen is it will also look into updating the GPT behind the scenes, so it will give you a better summarization next time. So in short, the human in the loop is there. We can definitely go and put the feedback so that the system learns, right?
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I guess the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. Yeah, I like it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then the other one, look, Rana, just another kind of question that comes out a lot. And it's more, I guess, if an organization has already invested in generative AI, or they've pumped some, maybe resources and time into it over the last couple of years, and they want to kind of bring their generative AI, I guess, onto the HelixGPT solution. Is there any kind of concept around bring your own generative AI?
Absolutely. So in my architecture slide, I was talking about the BMC Helix GPT and open source. So we embrace both. Either you leverage the BMC Helix GPT, which is being, which has been created by, by learning from all the data sources, from the domain expertise we have. We have a lot of tons of the knowledge. We have created it, but that doesn't mean you cannot bring your own model, be it Azure or GCP. You can bring in your own GPT models. We have a service running on top of it. It will be fine-tuned based on your data, and you can definitely use it. So basically, if you can think from a developer perspective, it will be like an AP, kind of a container running those and just calling their API and responding it back. So definitely, that's also out there.
Yeah, that's great to know, because I guess a lot of kind of companies have been looking at this, for a period of time. So the fact that they can bring their own kind of models is pretty powerful. That's really cool. Okay, well, I'm looking in the Q&A section. I'm not picking up any other kind of questions on that. Anything from your side, Rana, you'd like to add maybe before we close today's webinar?
No, so this is look, I just before I end it, this field has been very hot, especially from last 1 year, and especially if you can see all the news going around it. It's a very hot topic, but I can say BMC is leader in this space, because I was sharing that we are doing this from last 2 years. We are kind of in a mature space than anyone else. And we are looking at all the other possibilities as well, wherever we can generalize things, or wherever we can put those contexts into a generative AI and summarize things. The ultimate goal is to make it really easy to save your time and cost, right? Because at the end of the day, what you really want is, how do I solve my use case faster? And that's where the generative AI comes into the picture. So if you have use cases, bring it to us. We'll be more than happy to look into it.
That's great.